Hi, my name is Sonia Landon, and I've been doing hair for almost 30 years, more than half of my life. I own a hair studio and day spa with my husband. For 20 years we've had it. And I've been a platform artist and educator for 17 years for a different product company. So I am moving on and looking for a new place to work and a new place to grow and to share the knowledge that I have. And I want to show you a haircut today to show you my talent and the passion that I have for this industry. I feel like if you're not learning, you're not growing, and I want to make sure that I'm constantly feeling like I'm growing because I have young staff that I always want to motivate, and educating is what I love to do. So I'm going to show you a haircut today, and I really hope that you guys enjoy it, and I hope that I get the opportunity to work with you. Thank you so much. So we're going to do the haircut now on my model Hannah, and Hannah's hair has a lot of length, but we wanted to do a big change on her as well. So great way to do a big change when you're not losing a lot of length is by putting a really strong fringe in there. So that's what we're going to do with Hannah. I'm going to take it just above shoulders so there's a little bit more swing. I want it to look all one length, but I don't want it to just hang there with not a lot of shape. I also don't want it to be very tapered. So I'm going to go in and do some horizontal channeling and sort of piece it out a little bit so it's got a little bit more swing and freedom on the ends, and then that'll pair up really nice with her strong fringe that we're going to do on her. So I'm going to go ahead and section her off, and then we'll talk about what we're going to do then. Hi. So I've got her sectioned off. So I sectioned the front from the back. We went from ear to ear and straight down the center, and my section is horizontal to the floor because I want it to be straight. I don't want any angles right now. So I'm going to take my first section, and I said before we're going to keep it just above the shoulders. So my first section, because it's the very bottom, I'm going to go a little bit shorter than that, and everything else is going to come a little bit longer than that. Be sure to make sure that your fingers are parallel with your sections because that will gauge where your haircut is going. If they're angled, then you're going to get an angled haircut. So we want to make sure that your fingers are parallel to your partings. And make sure that the chin is pointed down. So I've got my guideline now. I'm going to carry on with the same guideline in a solid form, and then we'll move on to the sides. Okay, now that I've finished the back, we're going to get to the side. Hannah has an off-centered part, and this is how she would always wear her hair. So I'm going to start with the lighter side, and I'm just going to pump her up a little bit here. And turn her head a little bit sideways so the shoulder doesn't get in the way. And I am going to do a little bit of a diagonal forward sectioning, not because I want a lot of A-line in the front, but because generally the front can be a little finer, and if you go straight, once it dries, it'll pop up and be a little bit shorter. So I'm just going to, just a really soft angle to just have it just a teeny bit longer in the very, very front. And again, I have diagonal sections, so I'm going to make sure that my fingers are diagonal as well. And if you turn the head away from the shoulders, they'll never get in the way. You're not changing up your line, because if you're trying to go over the shoulder, you're going to be elevating out a little bit, and then you'll have more of a tapered edge instead of a real blunt edge. Alright, I'm going to carry on to the other side, and then I'm going to blow dry it out, and then we're going to finish it and do all the texturing and the fringe once it's dried. Okay, so we finished blow drying, and I just wanted to share with you what I used on her hair today. So when it was wet, I used the Untangle, and the Untangle is a great product. It's excellent for detangling, of course. It also has some thermal protection in it, and I think a lot of people tend to forget about protecting their hair through the blow dry process. So this one, you will never forget to put your thermal protectant on because it's right in this one. It's also great as a cutting tool as well, right in, and then your comb can slide through a lot easier to help you get the proper tension. To shampoo her hair, I use Kevin Murphy Hydrate Me Wash, and I use the Angel Rinse for her hair. You generally want to shampoo for the hair you have, and her hair was dry, and you want to condition for the hair you want, and we want a lot more volume to the hair. So for the blow dry, I use the anti-gravity spray, which is for volume, and it's nice and light. It's not heavy in the hair, so it's going to help plump up and thicken up the hair, give it a lot of volume, as well as there's thermal protection in this as well, so that throughout flat ironing, blow drying, anything like that, then you know for sure you've got a lot of extra protection in the hair. Okay, so we're going to finish off the hair and do the dry cutting part. Now I'd say 95% of my clients, I do the base cut damp, and then I blow it out, and then we do the rest of the cut dry. When I did the blow dry part of it, I made sure I didn't really blow dry with the part. I kind of went back and forth, especially in her fringe, because she's been having quite a permanent part for so long. So I kind of blow dried one way and the other way to just give a little bit more flexibility to the roots so that it would fall more natural, and everywhere else through the hair. So I didn't do any flat ironing. This is just more natural how the hair is going to fall. I'll do a little bit of finishing on it after. So the first part that we're going to do here, I'm going to section the hair off a little bit underneath. Hannah's hair is very typical of most people with fine hair, where she's very, very fine around the edges and has a lot of hair in the back. So we have to be very careful how we balance that out. So we don't want to take too much off the sides, but we're going to have to take quite a bit more texturing off the back. I'm going to make sure that I'm going to take my sections up in a horizontal, because if I take a vertical, I'm afraid of taking this bluntness away, and it's going to be a bit too tapered. So I want to just sort of chunk it and piece it out so that it's still blunt, but it has shorter pieces in there to kind of air it up a little bit. So I'm going to leave some structure on the bottom. We're going to take our section, I'm going to comb it up, and the higher you go, the softer it'll be. I don't want to taper it off too much in the bottom. I'm going to take it up. I'm going to come directly in on a bit of an angle, and we're going to just remove little notches in the hair. And that's going to kind of make it feel a little bit chunkier with still keeping that blunt. And take this section and do it again. Just little notches. I'm using longer shears. They're 6.5, and they allow you to go in just a little bit deeper into the hair to give that notch. So I'm going to carry on with the back and do a little bit more, and then I'll show you what it looks like after, and then we'll go into the sides. So I finished notching out the back section, and it still appears to be all one length, but those shorter pieces, when you kind of play with it and mess it up, you're going to get a lot more movement to the hair. So it's exactly what I want, to look almost all one length, but a little bit more edge to it. So now the sides, as I said before, she's much finer in the sides, so we have to be really delicate how we do this. So we still want that kind of chunky feel, but we don't want to take too much out that we can, see a hole in there or anything like that. So I'm going to make sure that I'm going to leave enough hair underneath that covers that ear, and that will just give me a little security that I know I won't be doing anything too much. And I'm going to leave a little bit at the part line to cover over top of the chunking or the notching. And Then we're going to kind of do that center part. We're going to do the same sort of thing. Come in and give it a nice little piece out there. Perfect. So this is her light side, so I don't want to take too much. The very bottom, I'm just going to check back here in the back corner, maybe do a little bit more, not as wide. Your dry cutting is where you're really going to personalize it, so anybody can do a blunt cut, but how you go about to personalize it and texture it, whatever you choose to do, is going to make it look like your creation, not anybody else's. So I'm going to turn her around here, and we're going to do the heavier side. So again, I'll probably end up doing 2 sections on this one, but I'm going to leave, especially around the front, a little bit more. I'm going to take that section above it. Not too much around the face, because I want to be careful. You can already see a little bit of the hair. You can see through the hair, so you don't want to go too much. And we'll go take these notches a little bit more delicate. And then I can take one more section before I hit the part line. Having that hair veil over top is going to ensure that you won't see any pieces that you don't want to see in there. Perfect. It's just going to give me enough texture. It's going to be able to help us give her a little bit more volume up there. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is the fringe. I love doing fringes. And again, it's very personalized. Everybody, it's going to be different in how you do it. I think some of my mature clients, I like to keep it a little bit angled around the eyes a little bit to soften up and frame. But I think Hannah is young and vibrant, so I want to keep it really edgy. I think I'm going to come straight across and not going to soften it up around the eyes at all. She's not worried about lines or anything in those beautiful eyes yet, so we want to make sure that we take full advantage of that now. Because before you know it, Hannah, you'll be like 46. Okay, so I want a very strong fringe. Hannah said the last time she had bangs that she felt like they were really wispy, and we don't want to do that to her. So I'm kind of at the top where the apex is, and I'm going to come just before that. I'm going to make sure I come right to the corner of each eye. I'm going to divide that in half because if I over direct, it's going to become longer, so I want to make sure that I'm not over directing. Coming straight down, I'm going to do the first half and keep it just below the eyebrows. And then I'm going to use a little bit of that as my guide. So I'm going to loosely hold it with my comb. Wow, you look amazing. Hannah's working as our receptionist, so it's nice for her to have a little edgier look now that she works in a hair salon. Okay, so I'm just going to do a little bit more finishing on it, and then I'm going to do my dry style on it, and then we'll be done. So just give me a couple more minutes. Okay, so I did a little bit of flat ironing, and then I want to finish it off with my new favorite product from Kevin Murphy. It's the Bedroom Hair. So it's a light hold hairspray with a lot of texture. It has like a powder finish, and it kind of gives you that brand new, if your hair is like freshly shampooed, it gives you that day old kind of feel, so your hair just does that little bit more. So we're just going to do a little bit of finishing, and then we'll kind of zoom in and show you her finished look. So I like to really get it at the root of the hair. It smells great as well. How cute is that? Okay. So this is Hannah. And to recap, we went shoulder length, very blunt. I went in and did some notching around the edges, and then we did a really strong fringe on her hair. And then to finish it, I used the bedroom hair. I want to thank you for tuning in and watching my haircut, and I really hope that I get a chance to work with Kevin Murphy. Thank you.